I was in high school, this crazy, well, as we say here in New Mexico, El Loco man moved into the community. And the first indication that we knew he was pretty crazy was he was a runner, and he did it for fun, or well, we really didn't know why he did it. We just would see him running the country roads or see him running down the street in Johnson, and yeah, we pretty much thought he was loony. I think he was the first recreational runner I ever knew. But more about that later. The story that I tell my students now about this crazy man is my senior year in high school. I had really tried to load my class schedule with some pretty easy classes. And that was intentional. I wanted to be lazy and have senioritis and enjoy it. And the first week of class, I was sitting in one of those relatively easy classes, and this crazy man walks into the room, doesn't say a word, which was kind of a trademark of his, and walks over, puts a piece of paper in front of me, and walks out. Not a word was spoken. I looked down, and this piece of paper was a class schedule change, and he was moving me out of this class into chemistry. Now I was ticked. Oh, I was ticked. I mean, how dare he? That's just rude. But he knew that he probably had one ace in his corner, and that was this. That if I went home and said to my parents, Mr. Rostowski moved me out of my easy class into chemistry, and I don't want to take chemistry because I don't like chemistry, and chemistry is too hard, that my parents would say, yeah, if Mr. Rostowski says you thinks you need to be in chemistry, that's exactly where you're going to be. So I knew I really had nowhere to turn, and there I went off to chemistry. What that taught me in the ensuing years is that it's a pretty great thing to have someone believe in one's capabilities, and not only believe in them, but then to say you're going to do them and you're going to use them. I use it all the time now when I'm in the classroom and as a coach. I coach cross country. See, I told you we'd get back to that running theme. But I also use it when I'm talking to students about reaching the bar and going higher and using what they've been given to do what they're supposed to be doing. So that crazy man taught me that when somebody believes in your capabilities, it's one of those ultimate gifts. I often think that there's, three ultimate gifts in life, and that's to be loved wholly, and to be trusted completely, and to have someone believe in us. And that was one of the gifts that Mr. Ostowski certainly gave me. So I want to say thank you. The other story that I tell my students was my senior year in high school again. I was in a literature class, and the teacher was brand new, really did not know what she was doing at all. And we're just going to put it that way and leave it that way. And around Thanksgiving time, I started sleeping in her class. And she finally got so frustrated with me that the first week of December or thereabouts, she sent me off to the principal, Mr. Rostowski, for some discipline. And he very pointedly said, "What's the deal with sleeping in class?" And I said, "We have been reading Brave New World since the beginning of school. We have now been in school, 4 months? And we have yet to finish the 187-page book." So he promptly gave me after-school detention, which comes as no surprise to anybody that knows Mr. Rostowski, but I took the after-school detention, and unbeknownst to me, he immediately went to work and informed another teacher, a very competent and capable teacher, that she would be teaching a World Lit class second semester, and I would be in that class. So after Christmas, I transferred out of the literature class I was in, went on into World Lit, had a phenomenal teacher, thanks to Mr. Rostowski, and that class took me so far that I went on to get my master's in literature, just for the fun of it. And when I tell students that, they say, that's crazy, just crazy. But the third way that Mr. Rostowski changed my life was the running. And watching him all those years running down the street, running out in the country. One day he showed up at our front door. He had run to Brock and knew that I had to go back for a practice and was hitching a ride back to Johnson with me. And I just thought, this man, there's just some screw that's not there. But now 25 years later, and I don't even know how many marathons I've run, I think of him every time. I'm at the starting line every morning when I get up early and head out the door for my run. And people ask me, how do you do it? And I just tell them I had incredible mentors in my life. And Mr. Rostowski, Ed, you were right there. You've been with me through a lot of miles. You don't know it, but I'm telling you now, thanks so much for all the mileage you've run with me. It's been good. It's been very good. And someday I hope you're at the starting line with me. I'd love to see you there. But you're there in spirit anyway, because I will never forget that first recreational runner that I saw in Johnson, Nebraska, and that was you. Thanks for great memories, lots of teaching moments. I have used them as a teacher. I've used them with my own sons. And by the way, if the sins of the fathers are visited upon the third and fourth generation, I just want you to know that my sons are runners too. And they have watched their mom run their entire lives, and that's what they do now. And it's pretty great. So if that's one of the sins we're passing on, I think we're doing okay. Thank you again, Ed. Happy retirement. Keep moving your body. And thank you for everything that you have taught me in my life. Thanks for believing in me.